Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, January 19th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. We have teeter-tottering weekday, weekend Google ranking weirdness for the past several months, 404 error spikes with weird 1,000 URLs in Search Console, Google Circle to Search, and new multi-search features launched this week. A new study says search quality may be getting worse, specifically with Google search results. Bing market share, really not growing well, and so much more. So definitely stay tuned. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Wix. This week, Wix launched a new SEO resource that has productivity cheat sheets, checklists, templates, toolkits to make your job in SEO a lot easier. Check them out at wix.com/SEO/learn/assets. It's a lot of slashes, but you'll get there. Wix.com/SEO/learn/assets for all these cool checklists, toolkits, and so forth. It will save you a lot of time, so definitely check it out. And thanks to Wix for sponsoring. So the big story this week is that this weirdness, for the past couple weeks, I've been analyzing these theories around, is Google basically not changing their ranking from week to week, but letting certain sites in and out of their ranking index from week to week. So we saw for the past, since November, I believe, Google has been doing lots of updates, unconfirmed updates over the weekends. We were reporting about them. You've been watching this video. You know it's been weekend Google updates. Last week, it was a weekday update, which was very, very weird. And we didn't have a weekend update last week for some reason. Now, again, none of these are confirmed. Now I saw a story from Thomas from ZipTie, who basically said he noticed that a bunch of domains with non-standard TLDs like .club, .google, whatever, .something, not .coms, not .nets, but the non-standard TLDs were coming in and out of the index over the weekends and then coming back during the weekdays, which is super weird. And those dates coincided with these Google update stories that I've written that Google did not confirm. Then Olesa Korbaka, sorry for pronouncing that wrong, said the same thing a few days later in the week. So ZipTie wrote it, Tomas wrote it last week. Olesa noticed a Google search forum thread with a bunch of complaints around .media, .club, .clinic, etc. types of domains not ranking well. Dug into that. Similar. We're seeing a lot of this type of stuff where people were noticing they were being indexed and showing up in the search results on weekdays, but not on weekends. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Is it a Google bug? I don't know. I'm not sure. I did email Google. It does maybe seem to be this thing where concept around teetering in and out of the Google index based on being on the edge of quality, being on the edge of indexing, where Google doesn't think you're quality enough. Although this is not just happening with these non-standard TLDs. A lot of people are complaining over the weekends of these .coms and .nets, and so normal TLDs doing the same thing or just losing their rankings over the weekend. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I did email Google. Google said they'll get back to me. We will see. And I hope to have a larger story over at Search Engine Land when I get that news. Of course, I'll update this story as well. Google Search Console has been noticing a lot of spikes in 404 errors across almost every single site that I've seen. What Google's noticing is that somebody's adding links to your URLs, whatever it might be, blah, 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 dot whatever, .html, / and they're adding a /1000 to the end of URLs. This happened to me. This happened to pretty much every site I've checked. And lots of people are complaining about this. The good news is that these pages probably 404. If they're not, you should probably 404 them because there's a lot of malware and porn types of links pointing to these URLs. And John Mueller said, as long as they're 404, don't worry about it. These are just made up cruft URLs that nothing you can do about it. But you are not alone. Definitely a lot of people are seeing this. Google launched Circle to Search and a new upgrade to Multisearch called AI-powered Multisearch Answers. Circle to Search is where you could use an Android device to either take a picture, video, upload a screenshot or a photo, and then circle or tap or highlight with your finger what you want Google to search, what you want Google Lens to search for. Google had this feature with Google Lens or Google Image Search where you can actually go ahead and crop to it, but now you can just highlight with your finger, which makes it a little bit easier. Very cool. I'm a big fan of that. And then also Google launched AI-powered Multisearch. Multisearch is not new. Multisearch launched a year or so ago, actually a couple years ago. But now they're using AI-powered insights to go beyond just the visual matches and also show you more detailed matches in the Google SGE results. You don't need to be in SGE to see this, so this is pretty cool. Definitely took a look at that. It's somewhat gimmicky, but yet it's super useful. So I can find both these features pretty useful, which is great. A German study went out and tried to say, is Google search getting worse in terms of quality? And that German study looked at almost 8,000, so a little over 7,000 unique search queries across product review queries across Google, Bing, and DuckDuckGo between the dates of October 2022 and September 2023. So the study finished before the spam update, before the last reviews update. So there's a lot of updates were not included in this study that Google released. Either way, the study did show a lot of issues with Google search quality over the study. And what was cool is actually the study actually did scrape the Google search results every 2 weeks and then see if it got better or worse over that time. So it got better, it got worse, it got better, it got worse, according to the study. And ultimately, the study did say that it did get better over time, a little bit, not great. But the headlines across all the studies were basically saying that Google got worse. And there are cases in the study that Google got worse. So the question is, did Google get worse or better? That's how you read the study. But it's very interesting. A lot of SEOs are saying Google is getting a lot worse over the years. And Google is aware of that. Google is definitely aware. And Google said, like I covered last week, that Google has some changes coming to kind of address those issues. A new article by a new publication by 404 Media says that, and the title, let me read this title, Google News is boosting garbage AI generated articles, garbage AI content. What was interesting is I tried to read the article, it was behind paywall and so forth. I saw a lot of people reading it, and then I got some screenshots of it. And Danny Sullivan then went ahead, from the search liaison from Google, who's biased in Google, but he went ahead and responded to that article in a really detailed way. He basically said 5 or 6 points. One is Google News is not boosting AI content. 2 is he said examples in this article show that the author who did the article basically was filtering the Google News results by date, which is not the default. Google News sorts by relevancy. If you want to find a lot of garbage, you sort by date, and it will show you even the garbage articles. So that's what happened. This person was actually sorting by date to kind of show the spammy types of articles in Google News. 3, he said, obviously focus on quality. It's not about if you generate content using AI, but it's all about the quality of those articles. 4, Google is not perfect. It will continue to do better, like Google always says. And then he addressed why 404 Media is not ranking well in Google News, because 404 Media is new, and Google News takes a really long time, as all you guys know. It takes a really long time for Google to show new news sites in Google News. And this is something we've been complaining about for a while. A news publisher that wants to get into Google News no longer submit a process for that. It's just automated, and it's really, really slow. And also 404 Media is using a paywall structure, a subscribe structure, and then Google's Danny Sullivan said you should use the structured data that specifically supports that. In any event, really good response from Danny, but of course Google could get better always, and whatever. Sad news this week that Bloomberg reported on stat counter data that showed that Bing's market share has not really grown at all, or grown less than 1% since a year ago when Bing launched Bing Chat. Well, less than a year, about 11 months ago. It's pretty sad. Bing is only at 3.4% in terms of market share. It was like a little bit less than that, like 3.3 something percent a year ago. And Google's still dominant with almost 91.6% according to Stat Counter. It's sad to see, but again, most of you knew this. We did a poll, or Matt McGee did a poll, which I retweeted, that got almost 600 responses a year ago when Bing launched Bing Chat. And most of you thought that 60% said that Bing wouldn't gain more than 5%. It would be somewhere between 0 and 5%. And that really was the case. So it's sad to see, because I'd like to see more competition take here, but it isn't. Google has a new thing that's going on in Europe, where to comply with the new regulations specifically for the Digital Markets Act, Google will now change some vertical related search results units that they have. So Google Flights unit is going away from the European results. Google said it will also remove some other units of vertical search results, and also Google will include comparison sites across Europe webs, and they'll also go ahead and show you some more refinements that show comparison sites. We've seen some examples of this over the years where Google was testing this. So it actually seems to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, according to Google. So if you are in Europe, you will be seeing those changes there. I'm not sure if they will come to the US, but they are coming to Europe. Google is testing new variants of product listing and also local listing results that are less descriptive but more image oriented. Here's some screenshots from Mattel and from Brody Clark, and also from Alexander. Here's some screenshots of local stuff. Also on the product side, Google's testing showing 5 product results in the grid as opposed to showing 4 product results across in a grid, which shows obviously more product results. This was spotted by Kashul. Thank you for spotting that. John Mueller said changing from www to non-www will not really have that big of an impact on your rankings. He said it probably would have no impact on your rankings if done, because it's basically a site-wide domain type of change. As long as you're 301, you should be fine. It's kind of like going from HTTP to HTTPS. So keep that in mind. Google's URL, this is weird. It's something I found where Google's URL inspection tool in the referring page, here's a screenshot of the referring page, it tells you where Google found this URL, found a URL on my site from an unlinked reference. And the only reason I noticed is because I'm looking through my site for 404 errors because I launched a new site, and it was showing a broken URL to an article that had the article URL that didn't exist. So I looked, and it's actually found in a forum thread where somebody actually broke the URL on purpose. And John Mueller basically responded, maybe one time it linked, maybe it was a link. But then Dave Smart said, no, he's seen this actually happen where Google would actually show this beforehand and it was never a link. So I'm not sure, but could Google find unlinked references for your URLs? I'm sure Google doesn't count those as links exactly, but maybe they find it and they crawl it based on that information. Again, this doesn't really affect your rankings. It's just something, that little tidbit that I found. Google search is not showing news search or like top stories or news boxes in the search results for certain types of election queries. This is spotted by Will Flanagan and also Shalom Goodman, who did some searches for Iowa caucus and other election-related keyword searches, and noticed that the top stories carousel and news carousels are not showing up in the Google search results. This is the first time Google has not been showing those. Every year they have, and maybe Google's taking a new stance on what they want to show for news boxes for election queries. Keep that in mind for news publishers. That's going to be a big deal. Advertisers and agencies are absolutely frustrated with Google ad support. Google ad support has been really, really bad over the past several years. It's getting even worse now. Google just laid off hundreds of Google Ads reps because they're replacing them with AI and other tools. And Nicola from Search Engine Land covered this incredibly well with her story about how Google ad support is at an all-time low. And they even asked Google why. She said Google Ads customer service have plummeted to unacceptable all-time low, according to search marketers. And then a bunch of stories there. Even Menachem and me went ahead and gave examples of why it's bad. So you're definitely not alone. Google Ads support is worse, and it's getting worse, and it might get better through AI maybe. That's what Google hopes, but we will see. People are not too hopeful. Google Ads is gaining new campaign-level headlines that are dynamically swapped between different types of headlines that you want. This is spotted by Boris, who noticed that this is one of the best new Google ad features. He said it's not really talked about enough, where you can actually go ahead and enter campaign-level headlines and descriptions, and can now associate up to 3 campaign-level headlines and 2 descriptions. Additionally, you can schedule them to run at certain times. You can also pin them to specific positions. So this is pretty cool. They're labeled as beta, and here's a screenshot of that as well from Boris. Google Hotels in Google Business Profiles is showing new benchmark data, if you want to call it that, where you can actually do market comparison features to see pricing, how your hotel prices compared to the local market. Pretty interesting find. This was spotted by Luke Pennycat, and also Tim Caper noticed this as well a few months ago. So nice find there. Bing said their Bing Search and Bing Copilot in Bing Chat is unchanged, even with the Copilot Pro paid release feature. So this week, Microsoft announced Copilot Pro, which is a $20 per month Pro version, which gives you all the latest, greatest AI from Copilot, which is formerly known as Bing Chat. It gives you faster responses, better latest models and so forth, and all that type of stuff. But Bing itself has not changed with that. It's going to still remain free, but it's not going to be the latest models as the Pro version. Also, a little side note, Copilot apps do not support Pro yet, but they should support Pro in the next coming days. They actually submitted the change to Apple and Google to submit those apps. Also, Microsoft Edge could actually go ahead and search both Bing and Google at the same time. This is a feature that I didn't know about, that Mikkel from Microsoft posted about, and it's pretty cool. You can actually search them side by side and see how those results compare. And finally, a large SEO Reddit community, I think the largest SEO Reddit community, was taken over by fully a rogue set of moderators. The current moderator, who was only one moderator, actually was sick or something and was inactive for about 3-4 weeks. And because of that, new people could actually request to take over the community. And those new moderators are all Reddit accounts that are about a year or less, active for a year or less. And this is from Mattel. And there's a whole big controversy going around in the Reddit community. I'm not big into Reddit communities, but they are really great. So definitely take a look at that if you are part of the Reddit community. It's been taken over by new moderators. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is Search News we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SERoundtable.com. Thanks to Wix for sponsoring. Check out the Learning Sub, and thank you so much for everything. Everyone have a great, safe, healthy weekend. I'll see you guys next. Goodbye.